Pan American ordered new Fokker F10A trimotors in 1929, similar to this one owned by the Richfield Oil Company. In the Pan Am publicity photos, staff posed as passengers, since there was no money for advertising, writes N. White in Pan Am, personal tributes. The staff members were given a flight over New York City to thank them, plus $1 each. NASM 20,001,218. In this circa 1931 photograph, passengers wait to board a Sikorsky S-40 Clipper, an amphibious flying boat. The S-40 could carry 38 passengers and, at the time, was the largest airplane ever built in the United States. PA founder Juan Trippe was enamored with all things nautical. Author Jamie Baldwin notes in the book Pan Am, Personal Tributes, that in keeping with maritime lore and custom, a senior pilot was called captain, and a copilot was the first officer. Speed was calculated in knots, time in bells, and a crew's tour of duty was a watch. Courtesy Callisto Publishers. In 1931, Pan Am developed specifications for flying boats with a range of 2,500 miles. 6 manufacturers were asked for bids, notes John Krupnick in Pan Am, Personal Tributes, but only 2, Sikorsky and Glenn Martin, submitted proposals. Pan Am shocked the aviation world by accepting both bids, 3 from Sikorsky at $242,000 each, and 3 Martins at $430,000 each, with delivery promised for 1934. Courtesy Callisto Publishers. The Boeing 314 was the ultimate in transoceanic elegance. 12 were built for Pan Am. Transatlantic passenger service was introduced in 1939 and was scheduled twice weekly, weather permitting, notes Boeing historian Michael Lombardi in Pan Am, Personal Tributes. The flight from New York to Marseille took about 23 hours, and a one-way ticket was $395, or about $6,500 in today's dollars. When World War II began, 3 314s were sold to His Majesty's government, notes Lombardi. The remainder of Pan Am's fleet was purchased by the U.S. War and Navy departments. None survive today. Courtesy Callisto Publishers. After World War II, Charles Lindbergh worked for Pan Am for $1 a year, writes Kathleen Clare in Pan Am, Personal Tributes. He refused to take a salary, but he said that he would submit an expense report. On his first trip to Paris he came back and handed me a bill noting, "Here's my expense account." It was a car rental bill for a Renault, and I asked, "Well, where's the hotel bill?" He said, "Well, I slept in the Renault." He was used to twisting up in small places, you know. Posed in front of a Pan American Airways Sikorsky S-38, left to right 2 unidentified PA staff, Charles Lindbergh and Maura Lindbergh, Betty Trippe, Juan Trippe. NASM XXXX 1183. Pan Am offered President's special service on its New York-London route. This 1950 poster reflects the opulent meal service passengers would receive in the Boeing 377 Stratocruiser's forward stateroom. Courtesy Callisto Publishers. A crew poses by the Boeing 707PA, the second 707 built. Pan Am advertised the 707 with the tagline "Jet Clipper Magic, half the time, twice the comfort." Courtesy Callisto Publishers. Pan Am made the 747 possible. Former Pan Am President Nku Dan Colossi writes in Pan Am, Personal Tributes, the design of the 747 already existed when Juan Trippe first heard about it. Trippe was nearing the end of his storied career, and he wanted to go out as a visionary. What intrigued him was the sheer size of the 747, so he told Bill Allen, president of Boeing, he would order one as a test. Allen responded that was not good enough. Boeing could not even think about beginning production until it had at least 25 orders at $20 million per airplane. "Okay," said Trippe, "I'll take 25 of them." Here, 747s under construction in 1968. Courtesy Callisto Publishers. The recession of the 1970s, the oil crisis, and a soft travel market spelled disaster for the company. To build its domestic routes, the company acquired National Airlines in 1980. In order to survive an additional decade, writes Jerry Gidner in Pan Am, Personal Tributes, the company looked for ways to rejuvenate the fleet while spending as little cash as possible. As part of a deal leasing a dozen A300 B4200s for transcontinental and Caribbean operations, Pan Am also acquired 4 A310s. The A310 could be flown by a 2-person cockpit crew and had the capability to operate on North Atlantic routes, such as New York, Paris, Geneva. Pan Am could thus compete on thinner North Atlantic routes with airlines operating the newly introduced Boeing 767. While all these transactions did not prevent the ultimate demise of Pan Am as an operating entity, they did provide the company the room to endure for another decade. NASM XXXX 1183